What's going on behind the scenes and off the microphone at the Magic Word podcast? Hear what listeners and guests are saying that isn't on the podcast this week on The Magic Whisper.
Hello, this is Scott Wells for The Magic Whisper. Thanks for tuning in again this week to tell you a little bit about kind of what's been going on with me for the past week, what's coming up also on the Magic Word podcast, and some things into the future as well. Well, this week, of course, we had recently attended the Magic Texas convention in Arlington, Texas, which is a suburb just outside of Dallas, and it was a very good convention. I'm going to step over to the side a little bit and kind of let this video show. This is a little video of the dealer's room that was recorded by my friend, the past national president of the SAM. That's John Sturks. I want to thank John very much for doing this, and he has it on his website. You can see the whole thing in detail over there. Anyhow, basically, the convention was a very good convention, and I do have to say that they had put on not only a good convention, but this is one of the best programs I think that I've ever seen. It is a perfectly bound program, about 130 pages, full color, with great articles, more than just ads and more than just information. I mean, there's a thing about Gay Blackstone in there. There's also about Lonnie Darnell and the Wilson family. This is the only program, I must say, that actually, of course, it tells everything about all the performers who are there. But it's the only program I've ever seen that actually has an index, so that way you can look up someone's name by their last name, and you can find where they were listed or mentioned in the program. Absolutely amazing. Very well done by the staff who had helped put that on. And the name tag itself, I would say, was probably a 10 out of a 10. This is really a great badge. You can see the name is on both sides of whichever it's going to be. Also with your credentials on there. There's a little QR code on the bottom that you can scan, or you could just tap this to your phone because it has an NFC in its chip. So this NFC chip will allow you to go straight to the convention guide, and find out what's happening each day, because there were a lot of changes. Certainly the schedule as printed in the program had changed several times, and this is the best way of trying to keep up with it as things continue to change, or rooms changed, or whatever happened. The convention, again, I think was just basically almost, I start saying, unqualified success. I guess there was a few things that some people had pointed out that were irregular about it, or maybe didn't make it perfect. And I kind of think that's like complaining about the paint that's on the frame for the Mona Lisa. The crux of the convention, that is the centerpiece, which were the performances and the competition, were absolutely stellar. And of course, getting to see friends, the dealers, as you can see over here, were from around the world. They were fantastic. And it was just a great convention from the standpoint of my personal enjoyment. There was a lot of work put into this, because this was the first time that the TAOM had joined with the SAM, and also the FISM. And when you think about the disparate groups, political groups, I guess, that were trying to put this thing together from different parts of the country, it was just an outstanding achievement by Dal Sanders and Mark Whitehouse and others who had participated in making this a success. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and some of the shows were the best, and most people will agree with me that the Sunday night show that was International Gala was absolutely perhaps one of the best, if not the best gala show I have seen at any convention. I've attended hundreds of conventions. Really good convention overall. As I said, because of the performers, we had international talent. In fact, the two nights on Saturday and Sunday night, we only had B.J. Mallon, who was the MC from Colon, Michigan, on the Saturday night show, was the only American on the bill. The rest were all international. The next night, Sean Farquhar from Canada was the MC, and all the rest of the people were international. So for both nights, we got to see kind of a glimpse of what FISM actually is like. So for those people who have not attended a FISM convention, they got a pretty good sneak preview of what they could expect whenever they would attend a FISM, because the acts were just outstanding. And the lectures they gave also were good. Anyhow, you can go back and listen to the podcast reports that I've given each day from the convention on the Magic Word podcast. The winners, by the way, for the close-up and stage, who had gotten first and second place, actually a People's Choice Award, and also moving on to the finals, was Blaze Sarah, who got a second place, and he also is going to be moving forward for a close-up. And then Alex Ramon, who won in stage, and he won first prize for the People's Choice Award that was given on Monday afternoon. So overall, again, a really good convention. One thing that was kind of fun about this, I do want to point out, I had a text from a friend of mine who was actually a friend of the Magic Word, and I wanted just to read what he had to say. And he says, "I was listening to your day one report driving to a gig this morning, and your GPS started talking." And I was like, "Wait, what? That's not the road I'm on." He said, "Why is my GPS volume so low?" This was from Michael Tricks. And Michael was obviously driving and he was listening to that. And as I was going to the convention, I had my GPS on and it was talking to me and he thought it was talking to him. Very funny. Very good, Michael. Very, very funny. So great convention, a lot of fun, and saw a lot of things. One of the things also I was involved with was a panel discussion, which was something that took place on one afternoon. And it was going to be just three of us who were on the panel. And I, unfortunately, it was opposite also of one of the stage contests. And so the stage contest didn't get out until later as a result. And plus the panel discussion was on the opposite end of the convention hotel, which, by the way, from one registration desk, that is from registration desk for the hotel to the registration desk for the convention, probably about 150 yards apart. So there's a lot of walking in between. That's one of the negatives, I guess, of this huge convention site. Anyhow, one of the things that we discussed in the panel discussion was magic exposure as well as etiquette on the internet. Again, it was not very well attended because of the distance that people had to go, and it was also conflicting with one of the other events. And as it happened, we only had about 20 or so people who had attended, unfortunately, out of the 400 or 500 registrants who were at the convention. But one of the things I just briefly had mentioned, and someone had asked me that later, and I just wanted to clarify this, and that is whenever I had posted the podcast on magic exposure, and I had Murray Sawchuck on one week, and I had then Justin Flom on the next week, and then the following I had follow-up on the third week with three other people, with Bill Smith and Mark Holstein, and also David Sandy. And they gave one side of it as well. Anyhow, because that I had posted the first ones giving, quote, a platform to people to talk, Murray, and also to Justin to talk about magic exposure, I had mentioned that I had lost some friends. And one person who has unfriended me, which I don't understand still, is Rudy Coby. I've known Rudy for over 20 years. There are just a couple of pictures then of us, and going back, we had roomed together at the 4F convention. He stayed in my home. I've helped him on lecture tours, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, "I do not believe that Scott did this. I can't believe it. He's no longer my friend because he actually gave someone a platform to talk about magic exposure, and I think that it's wrong." I tried to talk to Rudy. I reached out. He won't answer my phone calls. He won't answer my texts or instant messenger. I can't get hold of him to tell him my side of the story, and I don't understand how the friendship could be so shallow, I guess, after all the years, for just this one thing to negate all of the friendship. I just don't quite understand that. So that is something that I think is sad as a result of the journalism that I did, where I'm trying to show both sides. After 850 plus episodes that I've done, that I get that kind of pushback and lose a friend. In my mind, he's still my friend, but in his mind, apparently I'm not his, and I don't understand why, and he won't allow me to talk with him about this. So very disappointing and disconcerting. Moving on, I just want to also mention that the Masters of Illusion is going to be taping later this next week, starting on the 9th. If you happen to be in the LA area, if you can kind of stop this, you can zoom in and you can see where they're going to be taping, and you are invited to be part of this if you would like to go and see a taping of this new season of the Masters of Illusion that is produced by Gabe Blackstone. I have been to there before. If you go back a couple of years ago, you can hear the podcast that I did from the Masters of Illusion backstage. Also, many of the people I talked to, and I ended up consulting on the show too. But just another thing that's a matter of interest, I've had some people ask about the Magic Island. I want to reiterate that I am not the person anymore who's working with the Magic Island. Scott Hollingsworth is the person who is the new entertainment director. It was hoped that it was going to be open by this November. It looks like it's still being delayed further. There are some permits that they have yet to receive, and I understand they had to break open some walls and check some wires and plumbing or whatever else, and everything is being delayed, which you can imagine putting all that back together and repainting and doing whatnot. I think they'll be pretty lucky if they get open by Christmas, but that again is the long-term plan to be open sometime soon. So I don't know the status other than it's still on hold and due to permitting issues with the city of Houston, Texas. Also, I want to mention that the contests are still up and running that we have with the Jeff Hobson and Michael Mode book, which is the best jokes ever. Also, Michael is going to be giving away 3 packs of his napkins to Rose, and I'm going to be drawing that name later this week whenever I go to my next convention where I'm attending, and that's going to be Magic at the Beach. And that's going to be starting up over here on the 12th through the 14th. And I will be, of course, giving some daily reports from that convention. And I will also, on the first episode, announce the winner or I should say the winner's name. There'll be 3 winners, and I'll notify Michael Mode, and he will get back in touch with you. So if you have not yet entered, go to the website at themagicwordpodcast.com. There you will see an application or registration form. Fill that out with your name and address, email address, and then it will automatically go into this spreadsheet, and then I'll randomly select some name along the way then this coming week. So I think that's just about all, except just to say that next week we're going to get back away from all the convention reports. I didn't have a podcast episode this last week because, as I said, I felt like I've been trying to feed you or give you a drink of water from a fire hose. There's been so much information from one convention to a next, and then another one, coming up here this next week. We're going to kind of take a short break for a couple of months here after this one coming up, Magic at the Beach. And then we'll be getting into October, in which we'll be talking about some seances, maybe some Houdini stuff. It's always a fun time and a fun month, and some things we'll be discussing then. But the next week after I get back from Magic at the Beach, the episode will be featuring my friend Al the Only. We've been friends for a long time, as you can see over here. So I want to invite you, if you again happen to know of any information that you think the rest of the magic community would like to know, or some hot topic that you would like for me to discuss, or a question that you have, or something that you would like for me to mention, please do. Just give me an email back over here, scott@themagicwordpodcast.com, and I'll be glad to share your secret or your whisper as well. And if you will, I would appreciate you just giving me a photo of you holding your finger to your lips as well. So until next week, just share the word and give me a whisper.
Share the whisper with other magicians and join us next time on The Magic Whisper. The Magic Whisper is a division of the MagicWordPodcast.com.